Do you ever wonder the countries which are resourceful, which are actually rich in resources, actually hamper? So, do you get to know why this happens? And some countries which are naturally gifted with resources and oil resources, natural gas, they crumble, they cripple. Do you know what is the reason? So, if you want to know that reason, this is that. This is Dutch disease. So, it's an introduction to it. What is Dutch disease? It's nothing but Dutch disease refers to the negative impact on a country's economy when the discovery or boom in a natural resources leads to the decline of all other sectors in the economy. Okay, so it could be particularly targeting manufacturing, that is industrial sector or agricultural sector. See what happens here. This word Dutch disease was originated in 1977. So if we date back to 1950s, so the Groningen gas was formed. Okay, the great Groningen gas was found in Netherlands in 1959. So that is in 1950s. Okay, this word was originated in 1950s and in the Groningen gas. So it's just nothing but a natural resource which was found by the Dutch. Okay, so it resulted in what? Crippling of the economy where the other sectors of the economy did not progress because you only focus on unidimensional growth, focusing on that one sector, and that one sector growth actually skyrockets. So this happened there, and their famous magazine, The Economist magazine in Netherlands, actually coined this word, the Dutch disease. Okay, so what is that process? Somewhere in an economy or any region of a country, if you find the natural resource, it could be an oil resource, or it could be a let's say natural gas, or it could be any kind of resources. Okay, so we have witnessed Venezuela finding resources, oil resources. We thought the country would be prospering to a different level. But what happened? You might have witnessed that finding of that natural resource itself crippled the economy. So how it works? When one sector is doing well, that is like be it oil resources for Venezuela or be it a natural gas for Dutch, where the actual meaning of Dutch disease started, the currency of that particular country appreciates. What happens? Appreciates, and of course it declines the manufacturing sector and other kinds of sector as well, be it agriculture sector, and the prices of imports rise. Okay, imports prices rise, and of course other sectors are crippled, and yet there is no job creation, and over reliance on one sector hampers the entire economy to a different extent, making the exports much more costlier. And this is the progress. This is how it works. Like I've already said, as they're finding a natural resource. Okay, be it Africa, even Australia has found that is actually suffering from Dutch disease currently. Okay, so you can see that resources that are found has been crippling the economy currently. And Venezuela being a quintessential example, Venezuelan crisis is somewhere also called as the extremity of Dutch disease. Okay, or you can speak about cricket. So where cricket has crippled other sports in India. So something which dominates results in the crippling or destruction of other sectors or hampering the progress of other sectors is called that Dutch economy. A sudden increase in natural resource exports will result in economic growth. That's a good thing. People want to buy the goods from our country. When they want to buy the goods from our country, they have to buy our rupees or rupees. I mean, in this case, if we speak about India, they have to buy rupees. When people demand more, currency's value appreciates. Okay, rupees value appreciates. And of course, if something is appreciating, it hampers the competitive exports. Okay, so our exports become costlier. This currency appreciation will result in reduction in the exports, and imported goods may become cheaper, and so the consumption pattern also. But the problem is declining in the exports, and other sectors are crippled and it is hurt. Okay, so after that, you can see manufacturing, that is industrial sector, and the other sector gets crippled. Okay, you can see the decline in the exports, volatility that is going to hamper the progress of the economy. Price, nobody is going to demand the product because it is costlier in international trade. So this international economics concept is quintessential because currently you can see this happening. Even Africa is a resource-rich country, mostly a developing economy, which is developing, or an underdeveloped economy, which is resourceful, naturally gifted, yet it is facing this problem of volatility because it cannot export, because one sector dominance leads to crippling of the economy. Okay, so, and of course, when other sectors don't demand, there are no job creations that is created. There is no effective demand for the consumers to actually demand any other things, because one sector is dominating and other sectors have been hampered. The growth process of other sector have been altered because it is an unbalanced way of investing in one particular sector. So like you have Ashman strategies with unbalanced growth, where you invest only in one particular sector and you believe that that communicative sector will lead the progress or prosperity of the economy, but it leads to problems such as blickering exports, and of course volatility will be more, and it also reduces in the lesser job creations. Okay, so India also somewhere faces a problem to a modicum extent, where service-led economy cripples the growth of other two sectors to a major extent. Yeah, and what are the consequences, which we have discussed? The same thing, decline in the exports, which happened, and of course second one is volatility, and of course you have job creations. Okay, so this leads to jobs in other sectors, losses of the jobs in other sectors. And what are the contriving or devising strategies that one could, or an economy could suggest to control or somehow maneuver all these problems? You have economic diversification, simultaneous investment, or you can put it as balanced growth strategy, simultaneously investing what lump sum amount of capital into all sectors of the economy, because diversification is what is required. When you diversify, you actually thrive for a longer period, be it investment or be it economy. When you diversify the investment, you do not actually lose all of it. You actually give them an impetus or encouragement to thrive the sectors of the economy. One sector cannot actually do it. Okay, so there are examples like Dubai, UAE, and different economies doing somewhat to a modicum extent, to a major extent well, but it cannot be such a country of OPEC, okay, or OECD countries who could do it well, because they channel the process. Their strategies which they contrive is different, but developing and underdeveloping economies strategy is somewhat not up to the mark when they speak. And sovereign wealth fund needs to be saved. Okay, so save a portion of resource revenues to somehow maneuver the price volatility to make sure price is stable, and of course exchange rate is stable. So the intention is to maintain price stability as well as exchange rate stability. Okay, so use policies, monetary policies excessively to somehow somehow have currency appreciation under control. So it could be pegging or managed floating system, where government constantly needs to intervene to control the rise, or let's say appreciation of a currency value in terms of its trading partner or other currencies. Okay, so that is what are the strategies that one should pursue. Okay, thank you.